Professor Steve Fish joining us this morning for some post-debate analysis. Professor Fish, thank you so much for joining us once again. I've been reading across the the pantheon of analysis this morning, and even outlets that are friendly to the former president. It's pretty universal. He didn't have the best night last night. What was your take?
No, he didn't. And it's funny, your previous reporter said that, reported that Trump said that Harris wants another debate because she lost. Actually, that's typically, of course, not the way it goes. If you're really cleaned up, then you don't necessarily want another debate. You just want to leave it at the one you won. Then you had Trump going into the Situation Room after the debate and trying to mix it up with reporters, a very weak move that showed that he actually thinks that he probably lost pretty badly. Look, Vice President Harris just cleaned Trump's clock last night in so many ways, from the ads she played that were trolling him, even before the debate started, in Mar-a-Lago included, to her handshake with Trump on the stage, which was not planned. That was kind of getting in his space. It was very polite, but it was still very much getting in his space. And what's interesting throughout the debate is that she would throw out the bait and Trump would take it. So she had the remark about how, I invite you to come to Trump's rallies. And what you'll see is, people leave early. They're bored. This is getting under Trump's skin. And Trump took the bait. It came back to him and he said, no, they're not. There were many times like this where she dangled something out there that she thought Trump might jump on. And in fact, he actually jumped on it.
And it also seems like no matter what the commentators asked, that they had their own ideas on what to answer, especially Trump. He kept bringing in two things: fracking and immigration, saying there were a lot of murderers, and then went off on this long thing a couple of times about how these people are killing and eating your dogs and cats and pets.
That's right. Well, for Trump, the immigration thing is just an obsession. And if you look back to his debate with Biden also, it's pretty much all he talked about. The thing is, when he goes off on immigration, he's so bizarre. His claims, you just mentioned about the claim that immigrants are eating our pets or eating maybe their own pets. And here, frankly, I think Vice President Harris missed an opportunity. She could have really issued a zinger that really humbled Trump when he did that. And there were several other times in the debate where Harris could have actually said things that would have gone viral, just one-liners in response to Trump's insanity, frankly. And she didn't do it. And I think that's unfortunate, because those are the moments that not only get attention at the moment, but then go down in history. Other than that, though, she actually really did own Trump all the way through. She said he inherited $400 million. Then Trump came back and said, oh, no, I only inherited a few million dollars. In fact, I was a relatively poor millionaire. Again, he took her bait. She could have come back with, well, I wish I would have, started life as a poor millionaire. Again, a missed opportunity, but overall, she did really very well. From her facial expressions, the way she kind of looked at Trump while she was speaking, she was by far the stronger looking candidate.
Well, so I'll ask you then, to sway those undecided voters in the middle, which was, I assume, the main goal of both campaigns coming into this debate. What did she have to do to try and move that needle? And do you think she did it? And then likewise for the former president.
What she had to do was come off as looking stronger than Trump. Everybody knows, even Trump supporters know, that she is, she cares more about ordinary people, or at least many Trump supporters know that. Democrats always win when it comes to who cares more about you, who's better prepared for office, who's more knowledgeable. But what Harris had to do was show that she was stronger than Trump. She's resolute, committed to her own ends, able to stand up to this bully and, make this bully wilt. And that's what she did last night. That's the big news from last night. It was interesting that Trump was complaining afterwards about the referees being unfair, about the moderators being unfair, but they gave him much more speaking time. He time and again intervened after Harris's response, and rather than just shut him down, the moderators let him go on and on. If you look at the kind of time spent speaking, Trump had 5 or 6 more minutes speaking than Harris did, but he did very little with it. And I think Harris really did do what she needed to do. Trump needed to show that he was presidential, that he was kind of at least more down to earth than he usually seems to be, that he was capable of not taking Harris's bait, you know, and he didn't do any of those things. You know, he was his usual bizarre, extreme self. He ranted rather than presenting a coherent case. He failed to really say anything all that substantive. He certainly said nothing new. He took Harris's bait across the board. All in all, it was really a very bad night for Trump, and it seems like his team knows it, and Trump knows it very well.
Well, and it seems like, you know, when you said that Harris didn't go in for zingers and things, she really made a point at, even while saying, you know, you're lying or this is untrue, she made a point not to go down that road and really paint a picture of, I'm all about hope. I'm not about dividing and saying us and them, even when it comes to like me and him. She tried to make it more like, let's move forward here.
That's right, and that's a theme of her campaign, and there's some advantages to that. But by the zingers, I don't just mean, you know, things that would be necessarily divisive. I just mean statements that actually would really kind of capture how, you know, how crazy Trump is, or how infantile Trump is, or just convey her own position on something in a really pithy way. These are the things that go viral after debate, and these really matter.
Did you like her answer when the commentator brought up the question about whether or not she was black and how he felt about race, and they gave him an opportunity, and he restated the whole thing that he said before to her, and then she responded?
Yes, no, she did well there, as she did really in response to most questions. Trump did not handle the moderators well. And then after the debate, even though they gave him more speaking time, and even though they did give Vice President Harris challenging questions, Trump was complaining that the referees were biased against him. He said it was 3-1, meaning the two moderators and Harris against him. You know, winners don't whine about the umpires. They just don't do it. And it was yet another sign of Trump's weakness. Trump really came off looking pathetic last night. And that's exactly what he can't do. Really, his ace in the hole has always been that he seems stronger than his opponent. That's really all he's got going for him, is what I call that high dominant style. It wilted last night.
Fascinating. Professor Fish, thank you so much for joining us this morning and offering your insights. We'll see if there's a second presidential debate. At this point, the offer's out there from the Harris camp. We'll see what the Trump camp says about that.
Thank you.
You bet.
And we'll be right back.